Hi, Fabio. My name is Ellen, and I will be correcting these essays for you. I'm very happy to see that you have begun the course and you started essays that are part of the course. So let's take a look at what you've written here. This is about entertainment in schools, so let's see what you wrote. A few individuals think that entertainment, no, sorry, again, a few individuals think that education should entertain the students while others think it should only follow the formal standard of teaching. I strongly believe that a good method is to have both sides aligned. We will discuss in detail this view during this essay. Okay, so I like a lot of this. I like that it's brief, it's concise, you express your position, you've done some rephrasing. All of that is great. So you're off to a good start. Now let's talk about what we should fix. Um, this expression, a few individuals, it felt a little strange to me. It felt like you were limiting it, and at this point in the essay, you don't want to do that. So let's just make it some, which I think sounds better. And then you also don't want to use the students because when you use the with a plural, it's usually because we know which students you're talking about, but we don't because this is only the first sentence in your essay. So you don't want to use that. Let's try it again. Some individuals think that education should entertain students, while others think it should only follow the formal standard of teaching. All right, better. However, I'm going to ask you this. What does this actually mean? This is not a particularly clear expression, the formal standard of teaching. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to rephrase this idea of academic only teaching, but it doesn't really do that job. It's a little vague. And so the person reading it is not going to understand what you mean. So you want to rephrase this to reflect academic only teaching. In fact, that's something you could have said. While others think it should only follow academic, or while others think it should follow academic only teaching. Okay, maybe something like that would have been better. Maybe you can revise it, to sound better. And I like this sentence. This was fine. I don't love this. We will discuss. It's a little, I mean, it's okay, but I would have preferred something a little less personal. So, how about this essay will be discussed, or rather, this view will be discussed in detail throughout this essay? That would have been better. Okay. Or what you could do is you could use the expression that is part of the template. This thing about using evidence and arguments to support my position, that would have been fine here as well. But yeah, I didn't really like this we here. Okay. You could have made it passive voice. So this view will be discussed in detail. All right. A better choice here. And also it's higher level grammar. So think about that. Let's continue. The first point I would like to call attention to is that students need motivation. The activities should hold the attention and be interesting at the same time. Now, here, let me tell you what I don't love. A couple of things. I don't love that you used attention twice in the same sentence. You either need to find a synonym, you need to rephrase it, or you need to use a pronoun. Okay? That's the first thing. Again, I don't like this personalization. I mean, here's the thing. IELTS is not a strict, purely academic essay. However, you do want to follow some conventions of essay writing. And I don't think it's entirely appropriate to put, I would like to call attention to. It feels a little conversational. It feels less essay like. Okay. It feels like it's a debate, but it's not. I mean, it's a written debate in a sense, but you don't want to use this kind of language. So why don't we try something different? Um, well, check this out. You wrote secondly here. So why don't we just do that? We can say, firstly, students need motivation and the activities in school should hold their attention and be interesting at the same time. Much better. And we got rid of that second attention. That is because they spend part of their day at school, and this time does not need to be boring. For example, one study from the American Ministry of Education says that the general GRE and productivity increases when the students are happier. Therefore, it is proved that entertainment brings motivation and positively influences the learning process. Okay, let's talk about this. All right, so this was not bad. This was okay, but it did feel for me like it lacked focus a little bit. What do I mean by that? I mean, you're kind of superficially or peripherally discussing the topic, but you didn't really like grab the topic by the neck and just kind of run with it. Do you understand what I mean? Let me show you what I mean. You didn't talk about entertainment in schools per se. You talked about why they need it. And then you spent like here so much time talking about why we need it rather than actually talking about it specifically. Does that make sense? I'm not sure. So what you could have done instead is say something like entertaining methods in school have been found to improve overall retention rates in students. For example, when students learn with games in the classroom, they remember, let's see, the names of countries and their capitals 80% better than children who were made to learn these facts simply through memorization. Okay, so that's the kind of thing that would be talking more about entertainment rather than the reasons for it and oh they're bored and so etc etc. Okay, you didn't actually talk about the entertainment itself, but the reasons behind it, and so I didn't really want that. They didn't ask for it. Okay, all right, let's keep going. Secondly, it is important to build education according to regulated standards. The teachers are not paid to entertain, but rather to teach the subjects according to age and program. All right, those are two lovely sentences, but we're going to talk about them. That is because the students should develop and follow a fixed step in order to attain a diploma and be nationally leveled. For example, according to the United Nations, everyone should have general knowledge prior to what? Everyone should have general knowledge, get rid of prior, to deepen their studies in a specific, should have general knowledge to deepen their studies in specific subjects or start working in jobs later on. That would have made a little more sense. All right, you can see I struggled with that. All right, now let's talk about this. Let's go back to your entertainment. All right, you said that it was a good idea to have both aligned. So since that's the case, you're actually saying to us that you're going to argue both sides of the debate. What that means is that you don't want to use firstly and secondly, okay? Instead, you want to use linkers between your paragraphs that show, look, I'm switching sides here. So here, it would have been appropriate to have on the one hand, and here you could have said on the other hand. These two go together, okay? They're the easiest ones, but you do need to use them together, all right? You can't just use one and not the other. So that's something to think about. And then that makes a lot more sense. I want to read this paragraph again to think about how on topic it was and how well you developed this. Just give me a second to do that. Okay, so I didn't entirely get the link between this first sentence and the next sentence. I have to tell you that the language of this paragraph was really, really good. But like I said, I didn't really entirely get the link here. Maybe your opening sentence could have been something else. It could have been a more general topic sentence. Okay. Maybe something like, on the other hand, there are various reasons to support the need for academic only education. Okay. So that's what you could have started with, and then this would have worked. The teachers, not the teachers, but teachers, okay? Again, you haven't mentioned the teachers before, so we don't know which ones you're talking about, so just be general. Teachers are not paid to entertain, but rather to teach the subjects according to the age and program. That is because the student should develop and follow a fixed step in order to attain a diploma and be nationally leveled. Okay? And then you said this. Now, that all makes more sense, but I still think it needs to be a little more developed. You have some really interesting ideas here, but let's see. Yeah, I think there was more to say here. All right, it felt a little short. Okay, let's talk now about your conclusion. You know what I would have liked here? I would have liked something like right here. This cannot be possible if there is extensive focus on education, on entertainment in the classroom. That would have really helped, like bringing back this idea of entertainment and how it just doesn't work. Okay, let's keep going. In conclusion, the learning process in schools is a matter of strictly following the curriculum with activities that grab the student's attention to raise interest here. You need an I. You need an A, sorry. Theoretical knowledge is important, but only will be memorized if there is real motivation, no A, behind it to use in the future. Entertainment can be a good tool to help the teachers to obtain these objectives. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff happening here. A lot of your grammar is really good. I see a nice high level of English. Let's try to um, work on task achievement a little bit, okay? As that for me was probably the weak point in this essay. The rest of it was well executed. Let's take a look now at the second essay. All right, let's take a look now at this one. Let's see. I want to see one little thing. So just bear with me for one moment. Let's see. 239 words. Now, you may know that IELTS examiners no longer penalize you for being under length. So what used to happen is we would read an essay and we would give it a score for everything, task achievement, coherence, cohesion, etc. But then if it was under 241 words, we would take it down another band in task achievement for being under length. We no longer do that. We haven't done it for several years because it's considered basically a double penalty. However, you should know that at this length, it's probably going to be undeveloped, okay? Or rather underdeveloped. So an examiner is not going to give you, or is unlikely to give you, a good score for task achievement, okay? Keep that in mind. Officially nowadays, they say that it is difficult to get anything resembling a band 9 from 250 and above. Okay. Even if you're not aiming for a band 9, you still want to be over 250 words. In any case, we'll talk about that more. We'll see how you actually develop this and what you could have done to make it a little fuller. Okay, raising a child is a matter of parental beliefs. You need an FS here, and formal education. Some think that participating in fun activities brings more benefits than reading a book. I personally believe that we should include both visions in the children's education. In this essay, we will discuss further benefits and drawbacks of each vision. Okay. One thing that I'm a little concerned about here is your focus on education. And there was nothing about skills and creativity. So you took this topic and your introduction kind of goes off in a different direction. Now, why is this important? Because an examiner is essentially looking at your introduction to see if it looks like you're going to be on topic. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like yeah, it's like a trailer. You know what I mean? It's like a commercial, which tells us how the rest of your essay is going to develop. Reading this, my concern is that this isn't going to be entirely on topic. You're using words like formal education, You're talking about benefits, but you said nothing about skills, nothing about creativity. And again, you said education. So, because there's nothing about skills and there's nothing about creativity, and instead you kept talking about, not kept talking, but twice you talked about education, I'm a little concerned that this is going to be off topic. Okay. So it might not be, but either way, you need to rephrase your introduction to make it refer a little more closely to this. All right, let's keep going. And another thing, I already told you about this. We will discuss. Try to avoid it. It sounds a little awkward as well as a little memorized, so avoid that. All right, let's keep going. We don't say on one side, we say on the one hand. All right, so try that instead. On the one hand, everyone has a particular interest. Individuals can master only one activity when they really love what they are doing. Besides, enjoying the day brings long term positive results. For example, according to one study from Harvard Business Review that measures the impact of happiness in future child lives, some groups of people were monitored for their whole life with a W, and the most successful ones had a very pleasant childhood. This proves that we should enjoy the process and celebrate attained goals. All right, this is exactly what I was worried about. This is not on topic. Okay. What you need to do is you really need to focus on this here. Um, I can see this is about books. So this should have been about doing fun activities and how these fun activities help develop skills. So to give you an idea of what is often covered in this essay, you can talk about how involvement in sports helps develop a variety of skills like hand-eye coordination, like fine motor skills, like sportsmanship, competition, okay? And then you can develop those. You can say how this happens. So, how is sportsmanship developed? Children learn how to lose with grace. They also learn how to be competitive in a positive way. Okay, it helps promote physical fitness. Okay, and discipline. So these were some things you could have said. Also, you could have said that activities can help develop creativity. For example, drawing also helps develop fine motor skills, but it also develops imagination and creativity. Children can draw or paint or even create things with paper, from fantastical, imaginary worlds, and this is very important to their future lives. Okay, so these were some of the things that you could have talked about here that would have been relevant. But you do have to talk about skills and you do have to talk about creativity. Let's keep going. On the other hand, reading a book can be fundamental for self development. Learning a new skill is most of the time possible by consulting several different sources. For instance, a very well known magazine called The Economist published a report saying that reading a book every night for children creates more intelligent individuals. Moreover, our brain develops an internal mechanism that arouses creativity. Oh, sorry, curiosity. Okay, that's fine. Link it to creativity. So people who read are then found to develop more creativity, something. Okay, so I'm a little happier with this paragraph, but I feel like it almost sounds like you're talking about adults when it's supposed to be children. Okay, so the focus feels off for me. And it should have been more developed. Okay, you need to talk about creativity. You need to talk about the skills. You said more intelligent individuals. Okay, well, prove it. How do you know that? How do you quantify intelligence? Okay, so you could have said that children who were read to scored 60% higher on psychometric tests or on general aptitude tests than children who did not read as frequently. So these are the things that you need to do here to support what you're saying. Okay? And you'll see that if you had done these things, it also would have boosted up your word count. Okay. It is possible to conclude that happiness and enjoyable activities are together. No, happiness and enjoyable are together to foster motivation. No, this is awkward. I don't understand. And where's reading here? So reading habits, add the necessary complement. I think you mean complement with an E here, different word, to build trustful individuals. I don't know why we're talking about trust. Families should support these habits and talk daily to their children to balance the dose of each activity. Okay, that's fun. I like your last sentence. I don't understand why we're talking about trust. We're talking about skillful, okay? Skillful children, skillful individuals. So I don't really understand the inclusion of that word. And then, like I said, some of this was a little awkward for me. So, what's really, really great for me, and believe me, it's a big deal, is that your grammar is really nice. You've got some good vocabulary, but some of it is inaccurate. What we need to do is really work on this issue of task achievement. I don't want you to feel discouraged by that. You're actually in a really advantageous position because you've got the right skills. Okay. What we need to do now is work on like test taking skills, writing skills, which can be attained generally more easily than language skills. Okay. So go ahead, correct these essays, return them to us corrected. Don't forget to send us your new set of essays where you've applied all of the things that we've talked about today. And also an error correction list so you can keep track of what your mistakes are. Okay? So good job. Let's see another set of essays from you, and we'll go from there. Good luck.